From snarky comments to straight-up cold shoulders, here are 10 celebrities who have dissed Ryan Reynolds. We kick things off with Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca never actually named Ryan, but she did drop a juicy little comment that got the rumor mill spinning. She casually talked about it in an interview while promoting a film.
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say...
She added that she managed to work around it by delivering her lines while her co-star faced away from her. Now, was she talking about Ryan? Well, the internet sure thinks so. And let's be real, Hollywood is a big place, but Rebecca's filmography around that time lines up suspiciously well with Ryan's. The film in question is believed to be Life, released in 2017, a sci-fi thriller where the two shared significant screen time. If the reports are accurate, something must have happened on set that led Rebecca to go out of her way to avoid interacting with Ryan. Whatever the reason, this was a subtle but powerful diss. An actress rarely admits to preferring a tennis ball over her actual co-star. Unlike Rebecca, TJ Miller had no problem naming names. If you remember the first Deadpool movie, TJ played Weasel, the snarky bartender and Wade Wilson's sidekick, delivering some of the film's funniest lines. But despite their comedic chemistry on screen, TJ later claimed that Ryan Reynolds was horrifically mean to him on set.
So he was like, what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you just, you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real.
He hinted that Ryan had let fame go to his head, saying he wasn't the same after finding success. But with TJ's own history of controversies, including accusations of misconduct and erratic behavior, some people were quick to question his take. If there was a behind-the-scenes power struggle, it could explain why TJ was noticeably absent from Deadpool 3. Whatever happened, it's clear there was no love lost between these two. And speaking of long-running feuds, how could we not mention Hugh Jackman? Now, this one is weird because it's part joke, part real-life grudge, and part epic internet trolling. Ryan and Hugh have been publicly feuding for years, throwing hilarious jabs at each other online.
So if you see him and you can breach his 6-person security team, don't say, hey man, why is your belt chafing your nipples?
But there was a time when Hugh made it pretty clear that he wasn't just joking around. In an interview, he hinted that Ryan can be exhausting to deal with. Now, Hugh is one of the nicest guys in Hollywood, so if he's saying that, you have to wonder what's really going on. Their beef actually dates back to when Ryan was married to Scarlett Johansson. Hugh, being good friends with Scarlett, reportedly didn't like how Ryan handled the relationship or the eventual divorce. That initial friction turned into playful banter. But you can't help but feel like there's some truth beneath the jokes. Now, here's a name you probably wouldn't expect: Robert De Niro. Yep. The Hollywood legend himself. This one is a bit murky, but according to reports, De Niro wasn't exactly a fan of Ryan during their time together. While they never had a public falling out, there were whispers that De Niro found Ryan's on-set behavior a little too playful, a little too unserious for his liking. De Niro embodies the essence of classic Hollywood: craft, discipline, and deep devotion to the work. Their alleged feud started when Ryan's lighthearted, improvisational style clashed with De Niro's more intense, method-acting approach. That kind of contrast works perfectly for a character like Deadpool, but next to a Hollywood heavyweight like De Niro? Not so much. The result? A working relationship that was less than harmonious. Speaking of work relationships, let's talk about a pair who got a little shady on live television: Sony Gianniola and Dina Cortese from Jersey Shore. The two reality stars were on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and during a segment, they were asked about celebrities they've met who weren't as nice as they seemed.
Me and Gina encountered a rude celebrity once, but we don't want to say who it is.
While they didn't flat out call Ryan out, they did throw some serious side-eye when his name came up. It was one of those moments where they didn't need to say much. The expressions on their faces said it all. Rumor has it Ryan may have ignored them at a public event, which rubbed them the wrong way. It's not uncommon for A-list stars to brush off reality TV celebrities, but clearly, this interaction left an impression strong enough to warrant some subtle shade on national television. Now, Quentin Tarantino is known for speaking his mind, And when he was asked about Ryan Reynolds, he didn't hold back. Tarantino said he doesn't get the appeal and finds Ryan to be just another bland Hollywood actor. Coming from one of the most influential filmmakers of our time, that's a pretty brutal takedown. Some might argue that he felt this way because he's not a fan of the superhero films that made Ryan famous.
No, if I wanted to do that, I would do that. But I've never really been a big do a bunch of special effects later kind of guy.
Tarantino, known for his preference for intense, unconventional actors, clearly doesn't see Ryan as someone who fits his vision. Given Ryan's mainstream, comedic approach to acting, it makes sense that he wouldn't be on Tarantino's radar. But calling him bland? That's a tough pill to swallow. Then there's Tim Miller, the original director of Deadpool. If you've ever wondered why he didn't return for the sequel, it wasn't just a case of creative differences, as he explained in an interview with KCRW Radio. It had a lot to do with Ryan. Tim walked away from Deadpool 2, and while he kept things polite in interviews, rumors swirled that his exit wasn't exactly friendly. He later called out Ryan for always wanting to have his way. Even before he left, there was growing tension between them, mostly over the direction of the film. According to Tim, Ryan, as both the star and a producer, had a lot of creative control, and he wasn't shy about using it. Tim, meanwhile, had his own vision for the sequel, and let's just say the two didn't see eye to eye. In the end, Tim walked, and Ryan gained even more control over the franchise. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest names in Hollywood, Steven Spielberg. Rumor has it Spielberg wasn't exactly eager to work with Ryan Reynolds, and he made it pretty clear. According to inside sources, studio executives were pushing for Ryan to be cast in one of Spielberg's films, but the legendary director wasn't having it. Allegedly, Spielberg found Ryan's performances a bit repetitive. Funny, sure, but lacking the kind of depth he looks for in leading men. Spielberg has an eye for actors who bring layers to their roles, and Ryan's brand of humor and delivery just didn't fit the mold, being turned down for a role by the most commercially successful film directors in history. Ouch, that's gotta sting. And finally, Kangana Ranaut, Bollywood's queen of controversy, didn't hesitate to fire shots at Ryan either. The incident began when Ryan, while promoting Free Guy, made a humorous comparison between Hollywood action cliches and Bollywood spectacles. While discussing various aspects of the film in a promotional video addressing his Indian fans, Reynolds noted that it sounded similar to a typical Bollywood film. He may have intended it as a joke, but Kangana didn't find it funny. She fired back on social media, calling out Hollywood stars for what she saw as hypocrisy, mocking Bollywood while simultaneously imitating it. According to her, Western actors were taking advantage of Indian cinema's unique style without giving it the respect it deserved. Given Kangana's reputation for speaking her mind, her response wasn't surprising, but it definitely put Ryan on her radar, and not in a good way. Are these just coincidences, or is Ryan genuinely getting on the nerves of celebrities in Hollywood?